合戦の経験はある。正義を尊ぶのが武士の信条。楽な戦など一つとてないが、我らは正義の師、気高い大義を掲げておる。敵にとってはここが正念場。しくじれば歴史にも残らん。いつの日か歌人が悲しい歌にして読んでくれることじゃろう。今日の敵は武士の誇りのかけらもない奴らだ。野心生まれで蔑まれながら死ぬ。奴らの腐った屍は恥という名の棺桶で葬られる。陣容を見渡せば人の良さそうな誠実な農民の顔がたくさん見える。侍ではないお主らだが、死なば武士として葬ってやろうぞ。よいか。我らは風に吹かれ咲き乱れる桜花じゃ。花が気高くある限り運命の風は優しい。
Good afternoon and welcome back to Let's Play Total War Shogun 2. Currently, Taketoshi is defending against the sallying forces in the province of Awa, the Miyoshi, and their attempt to dislodge us. Now, you may notice that this particular map has started paused, and that's because I want to quickly run over exactly why I've set up the way I've set up and a couple of mistakes I made, because this is definitely not one of my finest hours. Now, as it's a siege sallying map, the actual attacking and defending sides start a lot closer to each other than in a traditional map. As you can see, this is actually the native deployment zone. We're not using the Kisho training to deploy any closer, and this is the enemy native deployment zone. So they're actually very, very close. If we have a look at the range, you can see we almost start within bow shot of each other, which is quite a bit closer than I was expecting. Now, I've gone for a traditional sort of defense with the bow ashigaru in front and backed up by spears. As you can see, these yari ashigaru in a big line with the 3 katana samurai behind them. Basically, these guys are the punch. The idea is to skirmish with the front bows. If cavalry threaten them, fall back behind the spears. If the melee charge happens, counterattack with the katana samurai, and then the spears come round on the flank and provide numbers pressure. While we have a secondary line of spears here to protect the general, and some flanking yari ashigaru on the sides to deal with the cavalry that they have in quite substantial numbers, as well as our own light cavalry hidden in the trees to hopefully deal a devastating blow at the right time. Now, unfortunately for me, what happens here is that I get a little bit complacent. You'll notice that this is actually terrible land for firing shots. There's just really no good angle here. Now, the computer's quite clever. It immediately moves its cavalry round to the flanks, and you can see part of the Shogun 2 AI is quite good. Very good at executing reasonable sort of maneuvers. And we open fire, but we don't really do too many. 5 in the opening volley there, 4. Like, we're really just whittling. And my real problem here is that I just don't quite take it seriously enough. I have good flank coverage, but I'm really a little bit too fixated on the cavalry and making sure that my guys are in the right spot. And by the time I come back and have a look at what's going on, I've completely forgotten to pull my bow actually back. So I've given them the order to pull back, but unfortunately they're now trapped in melee combat. So while I'm desperately trying to reform my line to deal with the cavalry, now luckily the hidden Yariashi on this corner have caught these cavalry troops, but these guys have managed to sneak through, and I'm just desperately trying to get my line back together as I'm trying to get these bow units out and the melee units into the fight. Luckily for me, the melee units do get in, the Yariashi, they do get the job done, but you can just see that this is a disaster. Now these Yariashigaru on the sides, they're going to completely obliterate those cavalry, luckily for me. But our light cavalry over here is getting cut up by their light cavalry, and so I'm forced to send in these Yariashi as defense. Now, the swords have moved in, and they're pushing down the center line exactly as I want them to, except I forgot to give orders to these guys. So they've just been taking arrow shot for the whole match, and they're quite expensive, powerful troops that really could be changing the tide. And then their light cavalry has got into my bows at the rear here. It's a complete disaster from start to finish. And I'm only really saved by the fact that I had enough grunt in the center line, just punched through, and the flanks held reasonably well. Only one unit got through, and it was fairly badly beat up. No one got to my general, everyone was set up, so this flank's all cleaned up now. So it was a total disaster. I got flustered, I was too busy paying attention to something else. By the time that I looked at what I was doing, my range troops were in combat. I should have pulled them back a lot earlier. I had them in loose. I should have had them in a tight formation. Extra casualties from range would have not been as big a problem as having that extra distance to work with. And it would have just been a lot more if it had gone according to plan. Now, it happens to everyone. We've seen it happen in many games. You've probably had it happen in your own games. Certainly happens in multiplayer. And everyone just gets flustered and loses it. Luckily, I was able to hold on and take the fight back to them. But next time, I might not be so lucky. Anyway, it's a bit of a humbling experience, and I hope you learned something from it, and that is mainly try to keep your line intact. If you can keep your line intact, even if things go wrong like that, you can still come through and take out the win. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.